This week on Bumpin' Chops.
Jesus Christmas Tree, is that a VHS complete collection of Seinfeld in the background? Mr. Red James, the foreman Red James, okay? Oh, you could lie all you want, but it's all right.
No, I really don't.
You really don't know who Joe Hendry is?
No.
Shut your mouth.
No, I really don't.
The NXT wrestler? We'll move on. Anyway.
We bring the heart to the heartland where the souls collide. Streets expand, it's not arms are set high. We're bumping chops and running roads in the world of pro wrestling where the weak will show. From the top row to the depths below, the warriors in the ring with nowhere to go. Blood, sweat, and tears, it's a battle of the wills. We bring the heart to the heartland. Heart to the heartland. Turn the volume up, they can hear from hell. Everyone's ready, so let's ring the bell. Ding, 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 let's start the clock. HVW, yeah, we're bumping chops.
Welcome back, everybody, to HCW's Bumping Chops, where the chops hurt and the words don't matter. I'm your host, co-owner of Heartland Championship Wrestling, Billy Simmons, and this is my buddy, Bobby Casey, from the Chubby Buddy podcast.
Hey, everyone. Thanks again for joining us for episode 2 of Bumping Chops. Like, 6 months ago, I never would have thought we'd be able to say episode 2, let alone pilot or episode 1. So, but Bumping Chops is proudly presented by the Chubby Buddy Studio, and Bumping Chops can also be heard on not just YouTube, but Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. We're still working on Apple. It's a big thing, but
Apple, I support you. I got 2 of you. Come on now.
You can throw me under the bus. I don't. But no, to get notified, just hit that like button and the subscribe bell on there, or the subscribe button and the notify bell, just to get notified of when new episodes drop every other week. That's what we're going with now until we see some changes in your schedule and also maybe some needs for this. But
sure.
What else we got?
So for all other information regarding Heartland Championship Wrestling, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at HCW Live 23. Bobby, what you got in the lineup for us today?
Well, this week we're going to recap episode 1. We're also going to go over the matches that you announced. You matched a few on here, and then you've released all the other matches that will be happening at the show at Justice for All. Yep. Unfortunately, the was it River City? They had to cancel their show, right? So
Fountain City.
Oh, Fountain City, my
Fountain
bad. So
City Pro, yeah.
their Justice for All got canceled. So
unfortunately, it really more got moved to another date, not canceled.
Okay.
They absolutely will have that show. It's just some things happen. They had to adjust their dates. It's part of the business. It happens.
I completely understand, but not only will we be doing that, we'll also be going over like maybe what's coming up next show, and then also I'll hit you with a couple topics, questions, and stuff like that. Right now, we have a couple questions from somebody that you're not quite a fan of, or nobody from HCW, but I think it'll be kind of fun. But we'll see what happens. No. But let's run some ropes.
Alrighty.
So last episode we had our very first guest of Bumping Chops, and how many years did you guys actually come down to? Like, how long you guys have known each other?
So we've known each other for probably 8 years now.
8 years. So,
8 years
for those
around,
that didn't,
yeah.
The ones that didn't watch or listen, Drake Gallows was our guest.
Correct. Drake.
So you've known him for 8 years. Not only is he a wrestler that you've wrestled with for quite some time, he's also an owner of a promotion, and he does pretty much exactly what you do. He mirrors everything that you do. He trains people, he runs a promotion, and he's a wrestler.
Correct.
So, I think that there's quite a decent bond there between you and Drake.
Yeah, we've been through some things. He's always been there for me. Always had my back, and yeah, we got a lot of the same mindsets. And that really kind of built that bond together.
Well, the episode did awesome. I mean, and I don't think it was necessarily them because not everybody knew up until like the last day. But I think that him bringing up some of his, I guess, he knows a little bit about the business. You know just as much about the business, even though he is younger. But like you guys have been doing it. So he's done it 16 years. You've done it, what, 22?
Yeah, 2001, so 24.
24.
23.
23 years. I mean, that's that amount of time, I mean, wrestling has changed night and day in 10 years.
Oh, it's a roller coaster.
So the amount of information that he has and you have, I think it calls for a great episode and like a ton of great information if you guys are looking for stuff. But like, what was it that he said maybe last episode that like kind of stuck to you? Like anything that he does with his business that maybe either you do or like you find to be, hey, that might be a good idea.
You know, like Drake has a really good process in the fact of how he's gone about doing things. He's went from little small things to, he's told you himself, he's building, he's getting out of where he's not with, like, he has to get a bigger ring because he wants the bigger stage. Like, he's built from the ground up, and he's done things the right way. He busts his ass, and, you know, it's paying off for him, and I'm proud of him.
I mean, everything that I'd known of him, I didn't know anything outside of, like, what I've announced at HCW shows.
Right.
And so it was awesome to get to know him more, especially his business side of things. Like, that was intriguing to me because I think he's closer to my age than he is yours. Is he? He's what, 28? Is that what he said? 28, 29?
He's 30.
Oh, he is 30. So.
I think he's 31 now.
So he is closer to mine than he's yours.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I think we sort of like, we grew up in the same generation. So like, but like what I asked you last week was like the question about our football coach. We had the exact same football coach, the discipline that he demanded without us even him having to say it. Like, I think you bring that out. And also he kind of showed that he brings that out too. He expects things without saying them.
Yeah. And you kind of, I have to do that. Like, you know, that's the respect of the business. It's just not the person. Like, I'm going to show that same respect to almost everybody until they've broken that. Like, and then you build bonds where if he messages me and says, "Hey, how's this guy work?" I can tell him, and I'll be truthful. Hey, that's a good one. Bring him down. Or good worker in the ring, but I don't know about backstage and stuff. So things like that really put things in perspective where, you know, promoters talk.
It's a respect thing for sure. Like,
100%.
And outside of the respect thing, I think it's also like, I'm going to show you how I did it. And then like when it comes to his students and your students, you guys are going to show them how you were taught.
Correct.
And then that's where the respect comes. Because if you can listen to that and not question it, then that's the respect given, is that you're not asking any questions. Why am I doing this? Like, I mean, asking why isn't necessarily bad.
No.
But if somebody can do that without asking why, I think that's just that one more sign of respect. I'm just going to do what he says. Yeah. Almost like Mr. Miyagi, like he asked him why. He goes, I shouldn't have to tell you why, but like wax on, wax off.
You wanna know the one of the phrases I hate in the wrestling ring?
I can't.
No.
Oh, is it close?
Close.
For real?
But it's I know.
Oh.
Because
I know.
You knew, why the hell am I teaching you?
That I know is mainly for people who don't want to listen. I know. I don't want to hear it again.
It's an easy
out.
Yeah. Instead of taking ownership of what they did. Oh, I know.
It should be yes, sir.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, at least with Dryling it was, and that's why I brought that up.
With me, it should be.
Yes, sir.
And that's how it just goes.
Even if you weren't in the wrong, it's still yes, sir. Whether or not, like there should be no room for argument. That should be settled outside of the ring.
Okay, I agree with that.
Just like on the field, you shouldn't argue with anybody on the field.
Do what I say, and then in the back, if we need to have a conversation because you feel it was in the wrong, I'm okay with that.
That's the respect.
Bring me to the back. We'll talk.
Yeah, but no, I appreciated everything that he brought to the table with that episode, like just the business side of things and what he expects out of his people. And he doesn't have a ring crew; he has students.
Right.
So what do you say we get into a couple of the comments from episode 1? All right, so
I'm ready.
Let's go down to very first comment. I mean, he blew it up. All right. Jesus Christmas Tree. Is that a VHS complete collection of Seinfeld in the background? Mr. Red James, the foreman Red James. Okay. He wants to know what your favorite episode of Seinfeld is. I didn't think you were a Seinfeld fan, but like I could be wrong.
I absolutely don't know if I've ever watched one episode.
That's crazy. I should send you home with at least season 1.
I wouldn't watch it.
Really?
When am I got time, Bobby?
I don't know. Do you play NCAA?
I do, and I'm not giving up fucking that for Eric Seinfeld. I got a couple shows I like too. You think I'm gonna quit watching that for some fucking show I don't watch?
What shows do you watch?
Right now, actually, because of fucking Stormy, I got into Power, and that show's fantastic right now.
I've never heard of that one.
It's on Stars. It's good. I think 50 Cent. It's part of 50 Cent's big thing. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. If you need to answer it, go ahead and answer it.
No, that's all right.
All right, but so you don't think you've ever seen an episode of Seinfeld? I mean, he just asked. He said, "Billy, what's your favorite episode of Seinfeld?"
He's probably watched them all. He probably has the same set you do, and he's jealous. Is why he mentioned
That's just not VHS. It's just DVD. Is what I said. I said, that's DVD, but it is mine.
Gotcha.
But I do like Seinfeld. I can't tell you. I think all episodes have their own specific favorite of mine. Yeah. So,
cool.
But Red James also wants to know if there's a list of guests, future guests.
Honestly, I've been asked that a lot. I have had more messages about, hey, like, I'd love to come on the podcast, from wrestlers to other owners to just different stuff. So I'm going to do more people involved, more business side, more wrestling side, more.
You know where this would be so
like
much
that.
fun to do in person ones would be Leavenworth. Like to have a room like just to sit and shit. Like,
yeah, Leavenworth would be a fun time too. Which we got a huge show coming up there. It will be our 1 year anniversary for Heartland Championship Wrestling. And I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, 1 year. I mean, it feels like it was just less than 6 months ago, to be honest.
When we started, Leavenworth was open arms. They were open arms with me when I was with XWE.
And that was why, wasn't it?
Correct. And they wanted to come. My relationship with them is why they wanted to come with us instead of stay there. And I appreciated it. And so our first show was there. And so my goal is to build that town just as big as we have Wichita right now, if not 3 times.
It seems like
as
it's
big.
getting bigger each show.
Slow and
I've
sure.
only been to
Slow
2.
and sure. It's been a slow process. My kids work their ass off at them shows. We have a great time, but my kids work hard. Like them students, I call them students. I call them my kids because I train all of them and I treat them like family because to me, that's what wrestling is. Wrestling is that brotherhood, that family, that different stuff. And if you know me personally, family is everything to me. So I call them my kids because they're really my kids. But they work hard, man. Like a lot of those guys go up there and, their pay is getting a free room and stuff like that where, people ain't going to go do that just to help build a town for a company. And that's their dedication and love to me. And it's so appreciative.
That one show was, I mean, I would say that like just the amount of effort that was put out by the wrestlers was just as big as Wichita. And half of them don't even come to the Wichita shows. Yeah. But that to me is what's exciting about those shows. I mean, I've only been to, I think, one. I can't remember. I've been to Leavenworth several times, but not those shows.
Yeah, the Leavenworth. So we're really building. So I've got a lot of the Kansas City KCXW kids work there. Got, of course, my kids. They're all working there, and it's a place for my newer kids to cut their teeth and get matches where they might not get at times. So I really love Leavenworth. I'm excited to go back. I'm ready for our 1 year anniversary show, but that's down the road. Let's talk about Saturday.
All right, so Saturday night, Justice for All. Matches so the matches to be excited about for everybody is, I would say, all of them, because if you haven't seen an HCW show, I think every match brings a little bit of HCW flavor by its own. Okay? So I would say that one of the matches that I'm excited about, just because I actually saw him, oddly enough, at a Leavenworth show, is going to be for the HCW Independence title. So even though I said his name wrong the very first time, the wino himself, all right? So, like, he just brings a type of energy to a show that I'm excited for. Even though I said his name wrong, he didn't He didn't hate it. He told me that I said it wrong, but I was fine with that. But I'm excited for that one. I don't know, like, what do you think because he hasn't been to a Wichita show, has he? This is his Wichita debut, right?
I think so. It might be.
Independence or the Leavenworth is the only place I've seen him. So, and then he's also taking on another one that's bringing a Wichita debut? Cody Devine?
Yes, it is. Actually, it's his HCW debut. He's a gentleman that got brought to me by Heidi Howitzer. Told me to give this guy a look, and I think between him, Niles, who's
Niles Plunquet.
Listen, Niles should have went to the big time a long time ago, and I think they.
He's savvy. He is savvy.
But that's my opinion, and. But that guy, so him, Cody, and Chance Kerrigan, that might steal the show.
Chance himself steals Wichita. Everybody in Wichita loves Chance.
Everybody's rolling with Chance Kerrigan.
But Cody Devine, I don't know who he is, but I do know Miles Plunquet.
Niles.
I said Niles Plunquet. Niles Plunquet.
Yeah, Niles.
All right, Niles. But anyway, that's a triple threat for the Independence Championship. And then we'll move on to the Fatal 4-Way. Now, is this like anything special about this match other than who's going to be in it?
No, not really. There is a change to that match that we will talk about once we start going through the competitors.
Okay, so we got obviously Wichita and HCW favorite Johnny Faith.
Of course.
I mean, he brings I mean the heart and soul to the arena when he comes out. His music is some of the most unique music when he gets that.
Yeah. And he is now saying that he is war driven,
not
Johnny Faith.
Not
and he's started like he's a little meaner, more aggressive, kind of just
a changed
ready
man
to fight Johnny Faith, and it's exciting to watch. You know, he got taken out at the last show. We'll see how this show goes. But that guy fights and fights and fights and fights.
He got taken out with class, let's be honest. Like, it was a classy ending.
That's true. I agree.
All right.
I can agree with that.
And then, well, I guess, I mean, I don't want to say that it's not a Wichita favorite. It used to be a Chubby Buddy favorite.
Okay.
Bruisador was a fan of the Chubby Buddy until his boss fired him.
Oh. So Bruisador was supporting
the Chubby Buddy food truck.
Maybe that's why Dickie fired him. Maybe Bruisador was eating too much and he was mad about it.
I didn't notice any weight gain, but he is a big man.
No, he's lost some weight. Except for in his biceps lately. I don't know what he's been doing. Getting bigger over there.
Big Papa Pump over there.
Yeah, getting swollen.
And then, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to bring up Mr. Colton Kinnaman. Is that right?
Colt Kinnaman.
Colt Kinnaman. This is his second match.
This is here's you a tidbit. One of Drake Gallows' kids.
Ooh, okay.
Impressed last time he was down. Good kid, works hard, very respectful, mean as nails. And the other change is Dorian Robinson. So Dorian Robinson's a guy from Texas, but he had some stuff come up, so he's not going to be able to make that show.
So is that going to be a surprise? You're going to announce it?
It will still be a 4-way. But you have to come to the show to find out.
Well, this will release after the show, so you can tell me.
Ooh, so, it will release. I'm not sure yet.
All right. Well, it'll be exciting to see. Usually whenever you have those like changes like that, it's usually just as exciting.
Yeah.
So let's go on to the next one. Another Wichita favorite, Jose Gerardo.
Listen, that kid, I hope he finally gets his hands and takes care of Handgun Dan, because Dan he's been such a bully and just picking on that kid. I hope he finally gets his revenge this
And
year.
they've faced off several times.
Well,
together.
Dan took Jose's title. So when Jose was the Independence champion, it was Handgun Dan that took the belt off of him.
I thought he lost it before that.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
And then Handgun turned around and lost to Chance Kerrigan, who's held on to it. But Handgun Dan seems like he don't care about titles. He don't care about who's out there. He goes out, he finds a target, and that's what he picks on, and just continuously. So we'll see how that one goes.
But I did, I kind of dubbed it. I was like, Wichita favorite versus Wichita hated.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
I mean,
Very much facts.
but let's go. Another one that I think could probably steal the show just because of what's going to be taking part in that. And that is going to be the for the Women's Sunflower Championship.
Ooh, big match.
Noel Summit versus the reigning champ, Heidi Howitzer, with a special referee. And I think that is what's going to be kind of like, what's going to happen. Has she ever ref before?
No. We went over some classes and did some stuff with her, getting her ready for this. But, this match came about because it's well known. Mindy Grace wants that belt. And there was a triple threat not very long ago between these three women where Noelle and Heidi kind of teamed up on Mindy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think Heidi pinned her with Noelle.
With Noelle, that is fact. So now this is an opportunity, for Mindy to call it straight down the middle. And whoever comes out victorious will face Mindy Grace for the belt next show.
Oh, snap.
So let the best woman win.
Let the best woman win. Like, I think women's sports is just, okay, so a lot of people, they downgrade women's sports altogether. I absolutely love women's fighting. I think women's fighting is some of the best to watch. I think that they're the ones that are actually going out with nothing left out in the ring. They leave everything out on the ring. They just give everything that they have until their last breath or whatever. But I don't know if you've watched any MMA lately with women, bro. I think the same thing goes for wrestling. Women, The women are just as they want everything just as much as the men.
Of course.
And nobody can deny that.
That's the thing with Heartland. We haven't dabbled a ton into it. But females, in my opinion, are just as well as guys. And they're going to wrestle guys at some point.
Mindy's Bronco Buster, okay?
Is vicious.
Bro.
But have you seen her hit the shotgun drop kick before
Yes.
it? She kicks you through the fucking turnbuckle.
One of the matches she had, I was hoping she was going to pick up that hat and then hit the Bronco Buster, but she didn't. She threw it to the side.
That would have been really good.
I was like, oh, you missed out on a perfect opportunity.
That'd been really
but
good.
It was still great. I mean, it's always a great match to watch Mindy as a wrestler, but this time as ref, I think that's going to be exciting too.
Listen, our female talent is top notch. They work their tails off. Speaking of our female talent, Stormy just got an opportunity with AEW last night.
Oh, wow.
So she got to have a match. I am so proud of that kid. She has now officially worked all three of the major three companies.
Dang.
So WWE, AEW, and TNA.
WWE, she did the draft, right?
She did.
Okay.
She's been backstage multiple times, and then she's got matches for both AEW and TNA.
Yep.
So I'm super excited for the kid. She's got a good
NXT
head
or
on her
TNA?
clearance. Huh?
NXT or TNA?
TNA.
TNA. Oh, okay. I thought it was
NXT is
Okay, my bad.
WWE's
My bad.
undercard.
Okay, I thought she was actually on NXT. So
Um,
still awesome. Just to say that you
Bonet
have.
was on NXT.
That's right. Okay, I mixed the two organizations up, but still awesome opportunity for her. And
she works her tail off.
no matter what has happened to the show, she still deserves it.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I mean, now let's move on to the tag team match. Is this we know ACFC is the number one contenders for the KWA tag team title,
Right.
so this has nothing to do with that. Correct.
Yeah, so this ain't gonna affect ACFC's opportunity for the belts in August. They'll get their title opportunity. This match was the champions couldn't be there. ACFC is hot right now, and I think everybody in Wichita wants to see the pair of rock stars get their ass kicked.
No matter how you see this, this is another one of those Wichita loved versus Wichita hated type things. I mean, now, the pair of rock stars at first, they were kind of on the edge. They were like, hey, we like this energy. But then when they started, using things that weren't supposed to be used, and
Listen, why you have to grab a baseball bat every time you wrestle
every time.
means you're a coward to me.
All right, Sting, lovers.
Just saying. I love Sting, but
I love Sting, but they're trying to be like Sting
just
too
saying.
much. Come on, man. All right. So before I actually kind of want to bring up Heidi Howitzer before
Okay.
we move on. Heidi Howitzer, even though she is not necessarily a liked individual in Wichita, she's loved. She's loved for reasons that nobody really understands. Like she'll come out to nothing. No music whatsoever. She'll sing her own music if she really had to. She don't care. She don't give a damn.
She don't. I think that's why.
So I got to give her props. Like they love that shit.
Yeah, I think that's why she's loved is
her energy.
Yeah, she brings a ton of it. She's funny. She's energetic. Like she brings a good. She's held that title well. And whether she continues that reign or not, she has a tough opponent in Noel Summit.
Creepy ass opponent.
Very, very much so. Like, this one's going to be a good one. I'm excited for it.
So, I brought up Para Rockstar. So, that was the tag team match. Speaking of tag teams, we just had a tag team. A guy, he had his baby just 2 weeks ago or was it a week ago?
Yeah. So
shout out to them.
Huge shout out to.
Sorry, I just now remembered it when I thought tag team.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, hey.
To the Rebel Hearts and Christian Temple on his new baby boy.
And I think that arm injury was like perfect time. It's like, hey, you don't need to be on the road. You need to like.
Well, you know.
He was on his way to Nebraska, is what I heard.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It is crazy, but maybe it's good timing, but and it's a good opportunity for him to relax, recuperate, be around the boy.
It's a girl. Isn't it a girl?
Negative.
I thought it was a girl. My bad.
I think they had a pink hat on it. Is why you think it's.
Well, no, I thought they came out in pink for the wrestling show, or maybe it was a blue. Dude, when they announced the sex of the baby, it was January, right? Road to Legacy.
It was blue.
It was blue.
Yeah, 100%
okay.
It was blue.
I've had Michelob Ultra since then.
I guess.
So, congratulations to him. I did forget that before we even started the show. So, let's move on to the. I'm assuming this is the main event.
That's Christian Temple and Morgan LeVay.
Morgan LeVay. I don't know Morgan LeVay.
So Morgan LeVay is another female worker that she's just been gone.
Okay.
Her and Temple are married.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've met her yet. I've just met Christian.
Awesome.
So, and actually, I kind of mixed him up also with another tag team.
Oh,
so,
boy.
Hey, when you first get into this, I mean, I didn't get taught nothing. Like, we could have an whole episode about how I got into this. So, hey, throw some shit my way. So, this was just out of order. So, I'll announce I'm assuming that this one's the main event, and we'll talk about that last.
That 100%.
Okay, so let's move on to one that I think this is good for Wichita and Texas wrestling altogether. Okay. So Mr. King Carter is taking on Dutch McClain once again. Is this to settle beef between the two that happened back at was it Road to Legacy?
There's been beef there. So listen, I don't know what Kane's issue was. Dutch is the man that brought Kane here to Heartland, brought him in open arms. You know what I mean? And for Kane to just turn his back on him and you try to use Dutch as a stepping stone, I understand why Dutch is pissed off.
Right. And I just didn't know if it was like, was he just trying to make a statement just because he's from Texas, you think?
You know, Kane keeps talking about Carter takeover. If you watch anything he's doing that. I think the man's got like 4 different belts in different companies. He's tag champs. He's singles champs. Like Kane Carter is doing big things right now. But Dutch is no slouch. And Dutch is pissed off. And everybody's seen Kane use those ropes to get that pin.
They did. And I mean,
when the match is on the line, can Kane win without cheating?
I guess we'll find out. I mean, we had several matches that ended that way, but like his stuck out mainly because of this beef.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the main event, shall we?
Okay.
So after last week's after episode 1, we spoke to the guy that was part of the main event at the previous show.
Correct.
Okay, which was River City.
Correct.
And he ended up being he pretty much ended up being the person who got the shit end of the deal. We can agree about that.
Yeah, Drake looked like he had the belt won, and he got the shit end of the deal.
But Mr. Ray Leone stepped into the ring to assist with what he assumed to be something that needed to be assisted with. Whether or not that's true or not, we find out this week.
Right.
this Saturday. And after this episode drops, we'll actually announce that next week. So, but Mr. Ray Leon will be taking on Heartland champion, Aaron the Prodigy Helms.
And Aaron says he's the hardest hitting heavyweight. And that's no gimmick. Aaron Helms will knock the crap out of you. But whether you like Drake, like Ray, or like Aaron, Ray messed up. At some point, that's going to come to a head, and I don't know when.
I don't want to be on that receiving end, that's for sure.
If Ray wins this belt Saturday night, the target on his back from Drake Gallows is going to be massive. You'll be able to see that motherfucker from Mars.
The man that was hit by a car twice.
Yeah, facts. I don't know if I'd want a target on my back like...
The target he put on the dude's forehead is just big enough. Like, he's going to want to put an even bigger one on his back.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
But that's...
I'm excited.
Like, we talk about, like, matches that will steal the evening.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a banger of a match. Like, you can't deny this. Like, Ray
It's the main event.
Ray is, I mean, he is undeniable. Like, you can't deny that. So is Aaron. Aaron is undeniable. Now, the hardest hitting boy, I can't speak to that. I've never been hit by him. But I will say this. Cannonball Matthews, that dude can hit hard as shit. Like, I heard it from, like, the bathroom.
Nice.
So, I mean,
I like that kid, by the way.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
who trained him?
You?
Nah,
Drake?
Nah, neither one.
Do I know him?
Jason. No, probably not.
Okay, then probably not.
My buddy Jason Jones.
Like we said, I barely got into this.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy this. I do want you to know how much I do enjoy this. So, I mean, it's fun.
Even with all the chaos?
Yeah, I mean, like, I prefer, like, it has nothing to do with the chaos. Like, I'm used to, I work at the prison. Like, I deal with chaos every day, but that's not the thing. It's like, if it can be, like, managed, like, why shouldn't it be? Like, if you can pass on, hey, this is what's going to happen. Like, hey, be sure you're, like, in this spot. Just to give me a tip so I don't look like a fool when I walk out and trip on a rope.
It was fun watching you trip on ropes.
Not for me. Don't forget, I might be younger than you. I don't feel younger than you.
I mean,
But anyway, it is fun though. I will say that.
I'm glad you have a good time. You get better every time, which is fun. It's fun to watch the growth of someone who had.
I just don't want to feel like I'm stealing stuff.
Yeah.
Like, that's my thing.
As long as you're not talking over people, you should have no opinions of the wrestlers. Your job is to announce them to the ring and let them do their thing.
Sounds good. That's an easy job. But I guess we can also talk about the next show coming up. What's the name of that one again?
So then we've got Leavenworth, August 10th.
Oh, yeah.
And it will be
Summer Showdown 2.
Showdown 2, our 1-year anniversary.
That's in Leavenworth.
In Leavenworth. And that show is shaping up to be a fantastic show. Got one of my buddies are coming up, and that's Outlaw. And then we've got Red James. Will be back.
This is the first show
with
back with
Heartland
HCW.
Since his leave.
And I'm not even going to bring up his last comment, so it's not worth it. It was his It was his outro, and it was a dumb outro, and I'll say it.
What was it?
He wants the outro to be. This is the only reason I'm saying it. Oh, I'm the foreman, Red James, and I always get the job done. Can you call yourself a foreman without a beard?
Ooh.
More like a janitor?
Ooh. I'll stay out of that one.
I love it.
No comment.
It's all right. It's all right. But that is Summer Showdown 2 at Leavenworth, at the Leavenworth local. Times are all the same. Doors open at 5, bell rings at 6.
No, so in Leavenworth, we don't do like a VIP per se. Okay. So doors open for premium at 5:30, or no, 5:30, and general admission at 5:45.
And prices are still the same, $12. Kids 12 and under get in free?
Correct. And 15 for that premium, which premium doesn't get you a lot of special stuff, but it does get you the front row table seating.
So is that like with the signed poster, right?
Yeah. No, You don't get the signed poster. That's a VIP thing that we do in Wichita.
Okay.
So,
okay, gotcha.
It's basically just a front row seat.
Okay. And then our next Wichita show, Did you want to say that?
Yeah, 100%. So the next Wichita show will be August 24th, and it will be called Block Party. We're wanting to promote the crud out of it. You have a Hawaiian shirt, bring your Hawaiian shirt. Let's make this thing a blast. We're just going to have a lot of fun.
That's going to be fun. A lot of good jams, I bet. Some music playing.
Some music playing, some good times.
Yeah.
So, Block Party, August 24th. But don't miss July 20th.
And if you want part of this action, like before, like everybody else gets it on YouTube 3 months after the event happens, make sure you're following HCW on Patreon. Correct,
because you get those. We try to get those out quickly. We're a little behind on there. We'll get caught up and keep things running. But you know, a lot of moving parts.
Understandable. So now that we're done with the Heartland Heartbeat, why don't we move on to a little miscellaneous stuff? Big topics that are in wrestling itself, in the wrestling world. I would argue that the biggest thing is just because of how much of an impact that he's done on wrestling, just as much as probably anybody else. John Cena has officially called it his retirement in his last match.
His retirement tour.
Okay, tour.
Okay. So he made it clear that it will be his last WrestleMania, his last Royal Rumble, and he will be there live on the first Raw that hits Netflix.
Oh, okay.
So he has made that clear. So this is his last little run.
His last hurrah.
His last little boom.
And no shot at him. I think he has done an awesome job just bringing people just the interest into wrestling. That's one of the biggest things that I've noticed.
John Cena carried wrestling through a time that was pretty slow.
Yeah,
you know,
probably when I fell out.
A lot of people did. The Attitude Era ended. It was more of a PG, kid friendly. You know, we're marketing to the younger generation, and national TV to, you know, that whole time when things slowed down and people were like, well, this ain't no fun no more, or this is boring to me.
I said it all.
He kind of led that charge to keep the people interested that was there.
The last time I got interested in it was February 14th of 2011. And that's just because The Rock came back for WrestleMania, and what happened at that WrestleMania? John Cena versus The Rock.
Right.
And it wasn't just that, I'm a fanboy of The Rock. Everybody loves The Rock.
Yeah.
But the dude brings a certain energy. And I think with John Cena, I think that he did a perfect, it was the perfect, setup for a match.
Yeah.
Like, those two together, they're both movie stars. They're both both professional wrestlers. They both had different, histories in wrestling for sure. Like, The Rock came through probably one of the hardest ways to get into wrestling. Like, Granted, his dad did give him a name, but he still came through one of the hardest parts to get, noticed in wrestling. John Cena had an easier way, but I think he did an amazing job with it.
Like, you say it's an easier way.
No, I'm saying nothing really was happening is what you were saying. Like, it was slow.
But you have to have those people, those corner points, those things.
I think I saw an interview with him, him coming into wrestling. He was in that school. The instructor was like, if pretty much kind of like how you said, I know if that's your mindset, then this isn't the place for you.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously John Cena took grasp of everything that guy was saying and rolled with it, and he succeeded significantly well. So, congrats to John Cena. I think it'll be awesome to watch.
Yeah, me too. And it's fun. And wrestling right now is on a huge upswing. So it's fun for everybody.
I've never seen granted, it's also because we started this. My algorithm in Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever it is, I'm getting nothing but WWE stuff. Every other thing. And granted, I think a lot of it has to do with me watching the Wyatt Six. That's the big thing. Dude, the amount of attention that's bringing to wrestling, I think.
Listen, I wish you would have paid attention to Bray.
Well, like I said, though, I had fallen out of wrestling for several reasons. One, it does take time to watch that stuff. But also, when you don't have cable, you don't have wrestling back then.
That's true.
And now you can get it anywhere you want.
Right. And I've always did. I went to the streamings where it was Netflix and Hulu, and you could watch You know, you could watch Hulu and catch the hour and a half shorted version of it. I've been watching it that way forever.
Essentially, the Sports Center highlight.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, you'll get to see the bigger matches and stuff like that. It keeps me entertained, keeps the storylines going and stuff. But, yeah, John Cena's fantastic, and him retiring is a big thing.
I think it's like the weird thing about wrestling is that I've noticed is that when somebody says I'm retiring or I'm taking time away, like that doesn't necessarily mean you're never going to see them in wrestling. Like The Rock has said it.
Yeah.
Stone Cold has said it.
Yep.
Shoot, I mean, you can go all the way. I think Triple H never said it until recently, obviously with his heart stuff. But like the big names that have said it, they've still appeared as. The Undertaker said it, and what happened to him? He showed up at WrestleMania this last time.
But that's different than wrestling a match.
Right.
A spot.
Right.
That might bring an extra 10,000 people.
The Undertaker bring millions.
Right. Yeah, right. But a spot is not wrestling.
Right. But it could turn into something later down the road.
And it could, but that has to be something that's talked about and done.
Like, how many times has The Rock retired? Probably 2?
I don't know if he's ever said, I'm retired.
He just took away.
Yeah, I'm leaving again.
Okay.
I don't think he's ever said, I'm retiring. And that's what John Cena said, you know, I never wanted to say I was retiring until I'm actually retired.
Right.
If I use that word, I don't want it to come
You
back.
want it to mean something.
Correct.
So, but like, and that's why I thought was funny is like when I hear the word retire with wrestling, like we still at some point see their face, whether or not they have something to do with wrestling or not. John Cena, he's already made a name for himself outside of wrestling. Okay, so you can't deny that he's not going to pursue that and take grasp of it. But I think that it's going to be fun to see like what comes of it because when you hear his music, like, the crowd's going like his music is just as popular as anybody else that's came up in the industry.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And then now you have people, and I'm going to say it, Joe Hendry. Like Joe Hendry's music, I think, is everybody's favorite song right now. Not yours or mine, but like it's catchy.
I don't know who it is.
You can lie all you want, but it's all right.
No, I really don't.
You really don't know who Joe Hendry is?
No.
Shut your mouth.
No, I really don't.
The NXT wrestler? We'll move on. Anyway, like I said, like the word retire to me is like when people retire from like football or baseball, like you never really see them unless it's like at a Hall of Fame game or maybe coaching.
Yeah.
Like with wrestling, I think it's a little bit different. And that's an opinion. Yeah. And that's an opinion for me because like you still see them, but it's not necessarily like for a match or a title.
Right.
But I think it's going to be exciting to watch. John Cena's last hurrah.
Yeah, I agree.
Like what was the big, when a wrestler retired, like did it hit you at all? Like man, this is going to be like really sad to not see him. Undertaker was the biggest one for you?
Hey, Sting. This last one on Sting. Although I was more of a big Sting fan when he's the Venice Beach Sting way back when. But Taker's probably the biggest. But I think we've all knew it was coming for a while. And you can see it. Like, the hardest thing to do was step away from that ring.
It's still in your blood for sure, probably.
Yeah. So, you know, you find other avenues to keep involved in the business. That's why I went to the promoter side and went to the training side, because I can't do this much longer. I'm old as shit. You know what I mean? And I'm not very good anymore. No thanks. So, you know, we moved to places that keeps us involved, and you know, I've just fortunately not too shabby at this.
I just don't think that retirement thing gets talked about enough. Like people that retire, like I mean, they obviously have things that they want to do. Like one of the biggest ones that I think that came back was not just Stone. Like when I watched Stone Cold come back for like this was, I don't even know what time frame it was, but like he came back with Hollywood Hulk Hogan and The Rock. You could tell the time had wore on him. Like he was leaning up against the corner ropes because he couldn't stand by himself hardly. Like his knees and his hips were shot, and you could notice it. Like that's, and that's why I think that like that's why I asked like what was one that hit you more? Like
Taker for sure.
Yeah, and the Undertaker, like his podcast is awesome. I don't know if you've seen it, 6 Feet Under.
I listen to like I'll catch snippets and stuff like that, but like some of the stories and stuff like that. Like the dude's just
He's awesome to listen to talk. The way he talks, like outside of his wrestling, he was awesome. But like his talking, I think he does one of the best jobs at talking.
yeah.
Like just to be able to tell a story.
Nice.
He could tell a story like it's nothing. Kind of like how John Cena, like if we look at John Cena took opportunities to like speak another language that the WWE paid for.
Right.
Not many people talk about like the opportunities that people get in the WWE, but he will.
True. And those are good things. Like, there's good and bad with everything. John Cena got big because he was able to hit on the opportunities he was given, and he knocked them out of the fucking park. So it kind of goes back to what we talked about on the last podcast or the last episode where, the really biggest things is when you're given the opportunities, do you hit them out of the park or do you fail? The great ones hit them out of the park 90% of the time.
Well said. But outside of that, I think that also like one that I guess right now we could probably ask the listeners, hey, leave your comment like who you think was like the most, like what hit you the most about who retired.
Yeah, the biggest retirement to kind of hit you the hardest.
Whether or not it was like a big name.
Yeah, and it don't have to be. Like it could be anybody. Just
like
what
the
kind of
smallest name
retirement
I can probably
hit you
think
the
of.
hardest.
Like you weren't going to hear their music again. Obviously, the ones that have passed away, I think that those are the ones that are going to hit you the hardest for not being able to hear their music. Those
ones. So I'm talking retirement. I'm not talking pass away because there's so many. Eddie.
Oh man, that hit so many people.
But Bray Wyatt here recently destroyed a ton. John Huber. So many. So I'm talking about just someone who retired that hit you the hardest, not passed away.
And I can't honestly say that I would be able to give you a name other than somebody like The Rock, just because I grew up in that era. Like The Undertaker's just isn't like more important than The Rock, just because of his time in the ring. Okay. Now, was I as much as an Undertaker fan as The Rock? No, because I love that wit on the mic.
Right.
The mic game was just undeniable.
There's things about wrestling that everyone can find something to love, I promise.
If you go back and you look at old reels of The Rock, like him and the old what was her name? The old ring announcer.
God, you love The Rock.
I do. Well, no, I love his quick wittedness. Who is the old ring announcer? The Lillian Garcia. Dude, the way that he would make her blush was the best. And she's an attractive woman. Like she was like, I was not ready for that, and he made me blush. And shout out to just people who can actually run the mic. I think in wrestling is probably one of the hardest things to like master.
Yeah, that's a big spot. Can you talk on the mic?
I can't talk on a mic. Not like that. Like that's so like quick wittedness it's got to be your second like language to be able to come up with something like that off the spot. Mm-hmm. But that's just an opinion, of course. But why don't we get into a couple questions that we didn't answer last week with you and Drake? Like now versus then in wrestling. So like the way that you came up at wrestling, it was 2000. What year was it? One. Yeah. So like the way that you got brought up in wrestling versus how they do it now. So like 2001, I would say it was way before any social media networks popular. So MySpace probably didn't hit till 2004, I would guess. So you'd already started wrestling. Everything was ran off pagers, emails, and cell phones.
Yeah.
Like that was it. That's all you had. And now you got direct messaging. You've got Facebook posts. You can make a video and post it to the internet for everybody to see. So like, what do you think the biggest thing for you was to grow up to be a wrestler of where you are now?
Like the differences?
The hardest part. So like now you can promote, like you can make your own little promo and post it to YouTube and maybe catch somebody's eye that's in like the WWE or you,
right? And
you'd be like, oh shit, I'm gonna see what this guy's about. Yeah. So like, what's the biggest thing that you see to be the hardest thing that you had to deal with?
That would be it. Trying to get opportunities other places, because back then it was about, can you get on a card that's good enough that someone from one of these other areas are going to get? It was all about tape trading and stuff like that. I broke into the business by
like VHS tape.
Yeah, 100%. I've got VHS tapes of me wrestling, Bobby.
I'm well aware of this. I'm well aware of this. You used to break them out on your mom's old TV.
At some point, I'm going to get them converted to digital.
I think that keeping them that way is just as awesome. Like keeping them as VHS, yeah, but I don't want them to. Yeah, putting them on digital is smart. Up. Yeah.
But
And not just VHS. You're talking like video camera with the cassette that used to be inside of it,
yeah,
too.
we did.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that would go into
AC
VHS
So
adapter.
Amarillo Championship Wrestling, that's how we recorded. And, you know, they had this little recorder. And here's the cool thing about that is we would go do the shows and like we were all young. The owner of the company was fucking 15.
The owner?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
so like
Oh,
we
that's
would-
okay.
at Amarillo Championship Wrestling, but he got with Terry Daniels. Terry was training everybody. We were rocking and rolling. But after the shows, we would all go to his house and put that thing into their little tape player. And it was cool because it was one of the little minis. So it had this other tape that had a little part that come out, and you slid it, the little cartridge
the
in
adapter.
and closed
The adapter.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
And put it into the VHS, and then it would play.
That's
the
how you
wrestling.
watch your home movies.
And we would watch the whole show after we had just wrestled it. We'd hang out, eat, and watch
Denny's.
the show.
I did
And
go to
then
Denny's.
we just kept getting more and more.
So like the digital age is pretty much blowing people up in wrestling. So like when you would get like a message, how did that happen? Like, did you actually write letters
Emails was mainly, but you would send
at AOL or?
yeah, you would send as many tapes as you could. So you'd get a match, or you could find someone that could put you together a highlight package tape.
And
package.
that was a diamond. Like you could not
Correct.
find
No,
nobody.
it would be hard. So you would get these tapes, and then you would get mailing addresses to promoters. And a lot of times we would get them from the back of magazines or stuff like that, like wrestling magazines. And you would get these addresses, or get it from this other worker, and you would suit your tape off with, you know, the phone number to your house line or your pager or an email address.
Oh, Walter and his pagers.
And so like that's how you would do things. It was just sending stuff off, and hopefully
I
they
just
would watch
remember,
it.
I remember that vividly. Like you would like be like, "Hey, I'm waiting for a phone call. I can't leave the house."
Yeah,
like
facts.
you couldn't leave
Nah.
because you were waiting for
Yeah.
that, and to buy time, you would put on the backyard shows, and your mom would be in the house waiting. Like if you were wrestling, your mom would be in the house waiting for your phone, like to
No,
ring.
that
It's
was
like,
way back before.
right, but that's what I'm saying. Like it
Yeah,
was
but
just,
you just mixed up two time periods.
no. I'm saying the
Okay,
difficulty.
but let me correct you.
Okay.
I never, after I became a professional wrestler,
Okay.
ran anything backyard.
Oh, you didn't?
Never.
Oh, then I never saw that part. Like in 2001, if that's when. Okay, so the backyard stuff. What was it?
It was before I moved when we did the backyard stuff.
Okay, and then when you moved back from Amarillo, like was it Amarillo that you moved
I
to?
had my ring in my yard
Okay.
that I trained people on.
That was over on the
Correct,
south side of
on
town.
Osborne.
Okay, so that was before that. I'm talking about
Correct.
when you moved back. Okay, and I don't want to bring up bad blood or anything. You had
Just-
a girlfriend. That's what I'm mixing up. Is like you had a girlfriend that was also a wrestler at one time, and you lived in the house, and you were doing something in the backyard with something. It's been
I
that
don't know.
stupid
Anyways.
memories. But like
Um,
it's just to look at that is like, man, like you couldn't go nowhere unless you like really had to go somewhere.
Oh yeah, you had to put in the miles. Or listen, I got the opportunity because we were. So you said backyard. We were doing backyard wrestling when me and Walter took an opportunity because another group out of Amarillo called WAR that ran backyard got an opportunity to go to do a tryout for ACW and Terry Daniels.
Oh, okay.
They told us about it, and me and Walter drove all the way there,
Where was that at?
Amarillo.
Oh, okay.
So we drove all the way to Amarillo and did this tryout match. I moved up there, and Walter decided to stay. I trained with Terry, and then
Oh, okay.
from there.
I thought you met Terry like while you were living in Texas already,
Nope.
like because you grew up in Pampa, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's where I mixed that part up. I mean, I've known you for too long, like, but you can't put like a time frame on, like, especially when you move back several times. Like that's
Well,
difficult
because
as
I
crap.
moved a lot. Lived in a split family.
Yeah, but you only moved between two places, Texas and here.
There's still a lot.
So, well, back and forth. How many times did you move?
I don't
Just
know.
for the wrestling part of things.
I don't know on that one.
God, I mean, I can't think
I've
of how
traveled
many.
out of Kansas for a long time.
Yeah. So is that like a rule? Like not really a rule, but more of like I'm gonna quit backyard wrestling since I'm doing this because you don't want to get hurt. You want to be able to be fresh.
No, because as much as I love and respected the backyard wrestling, it wasn't professional. And once I was trained to be professional, to me, why would I go back to wrestling people that weren't? And it still ticks me off if I go to a wrestling show and someone's there that should not be wrestling. Like, finish your training, get your stuff done. Like, and I'll wrestle anybody. You could probably put me in there with someone that's just knows how to bump and I can work them. But it's annoying at times because if I busted my ass and did my training and all my kids bust their ass to get training, knowing that training can be affordable if you just look around and look for knowledgeable people that has some respect in the business, you don't have to be a shit wrestler. You can go get trained correctly. And I still love backyard wrestling. There's kids that call me and say, hey, we'd love to come try out. They do backyard stuff. They come try out and they might not make it.
Do they still send you tapes and stuff like that?
No, I don't ever get tapes. I get video stuff all
Or
the
YouTube
time,
links
though.
or whatever?
Yeah, I get matches and stuff constantly. Like all the time.
Just the contact thing itself, just to be able to say something to somebody has changed the game of anything, really.
Yeah, I agree.
So-
And that's everything. As a promoter, promoting back in the day, we still do a lot of the same stuff.
Right.
But now I also get social media.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So thinking about like back in the day when these promoters were flyering, that is a must. In my opinion, you have to paper the town. To promote a show, you have to put.
And they highlight that
foot
in
on the ground.
almost every wrestling movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's the first thing they
You
highlight.
got to. And, but now they, besides all their tricks, now also get social media to help you promote.
And that's like,
And that's a game changer.
oh, yeah, huge.
Especially for what I want to do. Like,
Mhm.
I want to stream. I want to live stream. Listen, one of my kids was at a major wrestling company, said where they were from, and they're like, oh, that's known as a flyover state. I'm fucking changing that. I want people to go, Heartland's there. That's my goal.
There we go. Heartland is going to be a big name. And that's not just me as a friend saying that. I think with what you've done to it and the amount of professionalism that you've added to it, like, I think that's why I can see what's happening. Just because what I can see in one of the biggest city in Kansas shows up every single show.
Yeah, Wichita, man, I can't tell you how grateful I am for them. I go out every show still and thank our fans. Every show. And I always
you go out every show, even before the show, and just find out, hey, how's everybody liking it? Nobody, at least none of the small shows I've ever been to, I don't think anybody's ever done that.
Hey, like they're our lifeline. Without them, we have nothing. And if you don't show them respect and love and care and the fact that you care.
Just to find out what they want to see.
Yeah. Like, what is your interest? What would you like to see? Do you like this? Would you like me to change?
I will say this: they absolutely love, like, and this is just when the Chubby Buddy was there. Like, they dragged to that. Like, they were all 100% into that whole thing. Like, I think that's what, like, the small things that you bring to it, like the Chubby Buddy. What are you going to bring next? Hey, what's he going to have at this show?
Right.
Like, that's it's the attention span. Like, everybody's known for knowing that short term, like media, like on TikTok. Not everybody's doing that.
Right.
People want to sit and enjoy something, whether that be a movie or wrestling entertainment. Like, people are coming for just that one little bit of entertainment that they either didn't get during COVID or any time before that.
Well, and you have to think about this too, is things are so expensive nowadays. Like legitimately, like, fucking groceries are expensive.
Almost unaffordable.
And I can give you 3 hours of entertainment for a minimum of $12. You know what I mean? And if you have a kid that's under 12, they're going to come in for free.
Just bring your kid too.
Why not?
the Jack Stack Seats guy, when he came to, I mean, I contacted him to come and taste your brother's,
Right.
the Chubby Buddies stuff, just to do that. And his daughter fell in love with wrestling.
Nice.
Like, she'd never been a part of wrestling. She was like, oh man, like like for what wrestling did for me, like I didn't get big into it obviously until like I met you and Josh and Walter and Brett and Jordan, right? Like that wasn't big. I knew wrestling for like my first actual thing about wrestling was, oddly enough, it was the Owen Hart situation. That was like I was like, wait, what? It was almost like watching the Super Bowl halftime show with Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake. It was like that, like, because the TV cut off and we were like, what is going, like, I don't get this. But I knew Stone Cold. I knew all that stuff, but like I didn't appreciate like what it was for. But when you go to those live shows, that's a totally different form of entertainment. Mm-hmm. It's almost like going to a stand-up comedy show. Like you're getting a different feeling because when somebody comes out, you're getting goosebumps with music. You're getting that, man, this is something other than like what I see on TV.
So you know what's my biggest line is when I'm talking about people coming to Heartland? Give us an opportunity to make you love wrestling again. If you come and you don't like it, okay,
it's not for everybody.
That's on me.
It's not for everybody,
and
either.
It's not for everybody. But give me that opportunity to see if you will, because it might surprise you.
Yeah, and that's how you got that relationship with Leavenworth.
Yeah, 100%.
Like somebody was just randomly going to a show. He wasn't even there for wrestling. He was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
And that wasn't Heartland, of course, but like it was still something that you were a part of. Mm-hmm. So like you bring everything that you bring to the table follows you.
Correct.
So, but I guess the last thing that I can hit on before we call this episode 2 is I kind of like everything that we just talked about. Like you sort of said a couple things that could have been controversial, but like
right.
What would you say is your most controversial opinion about wrestling as a whole? Like some that might not even seem that it might be controversial, but like something that you hold like close to you about wrestling as a whole, other than like, say he shouldn't be in the ring just because he hasn't taken the time, but like something that maybe you hold near and dear to you because of something you were taught.
That's kind of 2 questions. Like something that.
Do you want me to elaborate more or anything like that?
Well, yeah, because. You're asking.
Okay, so from the business side of things, let's narrow it down to 2 different sides. From the business side of things, what's your most controversial opinion about it as a promoter?
That the workers shouldn't help set up and tear down.
Well, and that could say that everybody has that opinion too. Like Drake has that opinion.
Yeah, but there's people out there that have the opinion that the promoters should hire people to set up and tear down.
Ah, okay.
And there's a loud opinion about that. And then that's not wrong. It's just not my style. Like I get why, but I was brought up that the wrestlers set up the ring because that's where they perform to the top. You ask people that work at NXT, who sets up their ring?
Wrestlers.
100%.
WWE is the only people that I can think of that probably hire somebody.
You know, other than AEW or and Ring of Honor would bring in wrestlers that are trying to look for an opportunity, and they set up the ring. So, I understand the opinions of, well, if you're a promoter, you should pay someone to set that up. But I'm still old school, and it's still going to be my kids are going to set up. The wrestlers are going to set up. And quick way to make a name for yourself is show up and set up. You show up enough times, I'm going to go, who the fuck is this kid? Like, he's always here.
He hasn't said one word to me. He's been out of my way. He's just
Shakes
here.
hands. He's here. Puts away. Just looking for an opportunity. And then you give him opportunities. So many Kansas City or KCXW kids come down just in a carload or something looking for an opportunity. I use a lot of them. So,
and I can't have an opinion about that. I'm just asking you as like from somebody from the outside looking in.
That would be it. Is that, the ring setup.
Okay, so from the wrestler stand of things, what's your, I guess, not even a controversial opinion, what's your, like, we hear wrestlers that talk about things that happen as a wrestler. Like, what's one thing that, like, you can even call this a pet peeve, like, about wrestling as a whole, from the wrestling standpoint?
Like, as a wrestler,
yeah,
like, if I'm be upfront about everything. So, if I get a hold of you and I want to come work for you, if you can't afford what I'm asking, say I can't afford what you're asking.
Don't tell me later.
Don't tell me, oh, well, I didn't bring them in because they overpriced themselves. I always ask, if I'm not going to pay what someone wants, I'm going to say, well, I'm not going to afford that. I'm willing to work on it, see where you want to come.
Meet in the middle, maybe.
Yeah. And then I also tell them, now, you show up and you prove to me that you're worth what you asked for, I'll bump you up. I've done it a few times. Ask around. But I have to know that, hey, my crowd's going to be invested in you.
Mm-hmm.
That make it worth whatever you're asking. You figure this. For every ticket that sells is $12, right?
Minimum.
Okay? If I have 8 matches on the card, and all of those matches have at least 2 people and 1 ref, okay? So that's 16. I usually run 3 matches, right? Or 3 refs, so 19 individuals. If I paid them 19 individuals $50 each, how many tickets do I got to sell?
Triple that.
Okay, but
math is for your brother, not me.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I have to look at that
It's
stuff.
supply and demand. So
Correct.
like, if you don't have the crowd to bring it,
if you can't show that worth,
and it's so
make
what
me
you're
see.
saying is like the people who, not just from the promoter side of things, at least tell me, hey, this, I can't afford this, where I can work with you.
yeah. So I can.
So
work
don't
with
put
you.
my name in the gutter by saying, hey, he's
just
too cost too much.
expensive.
But also, like, without saying it, you sort of said, hey, like, don't think that you're worth more just because, like, hey, you bring, especially if they're coming to like HCW for the first time, they're not going to be able to get that because they're not used to that crowd.
Yeah.
Like that's
Say
and that's what you're
if
saying.
someone tells me, oh, I'm $150.
Well, let's use Kane Carter as an example. He did, like, he was brand new in January. He still brought people like after that because they're like, man, what's this dude doing? Like, he's bringing the name for his own.
Kane Carter is an example that I just explained.
Yeah.
Kane Carter said, I get paid this.
Oh, and I didn't even know that.
And I said, I'm not paying that.
Okay.
And he said, I could do this. And I said, I'll tell you what, if you'll do this for a couple shows and prove to me you're worth this, I'll bump you to this.
See, that's weird that I brought that up, but I noticed it. Like,
Now, how many shows it took Kane to work to get bumped where he asked?
2? 1? Okay. Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I noticed, like, what he, like, the way that he was acting in the locker room, like, he's a great human being. Like, great to talk to.
Good worker, bust his ass, willing to help.
But the expectation, like, without you saying it, the expectation shouldn't be there until, like, you brought, like, shown me that expectation.
Yeah, show me you're worth that, because, you know, if you're $200, to me, you have to be able to bring 20 people on top of what I already expect being there.
Right.
Can you do that? I don't think so.
Prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong. So that's how I
think
look at that.
I think that's probably the best way you can handle that. Like, that's the only way you can.
And then
handle
you get people that are like, well, whatever, and won't come.
And
or you get people that go, I'm going to bet on myself.
Right. And that's what you have to do. You like take a chance. Those wrestlers that take the chances are the ones that you ask to come back.
For sure.
So, but no, I absolutely loved like everything that you're doing with HCW. So don't doubt yourself. I mean, granted, don't take everything from me.
Listen, I'm always going to want to be better, want to strive to be better. I'm always going to think we're not good enough, we're not big enough, we're not strong enough.
But that's probably the business side of things.
It's the mindset I have to have because of where I want to go. And if I don't keep that mindset, no one else will.
Well, everybody heard it here first. So, but at this point, I want to just ask everybody to make sure that you hit that like button, the subscribe button, right here on the Chubby Buddy Studio YouTube channel. Also, if you're listening on Spotify or whatever, leave your comments. Like, leave your comments at YouTube, ask questions, especially, like, you're an open book. Like, you'll answer anything as long as it's...
I'll talk to about almost everything. Like, hey, listen, I don't do politics or religion.
That's
It causes too many arguments, and I like to be happy. And I understand that those two things can divide people more than anything else. So I won't talk about it.
And anything more than ever, we see it more now.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
why divide more when you could just bring everybody together
I like
with wrestling?
happiness.
So
Yeah, it's wrestling. We love it.
you said it best there, but like he said before, also follow them on Patreon for anything that you get after the shows are over with, at least 3 months out. You'll get them before that. And then also, I don't know, the color commentary is a part of every show.
It is. We do have commentary that's all on all of our videos moving forward. We added them halfway through, so if you're just now watching some of the stuff on YouTube, there's probably a few shows when we first started that we didn't have commentary. You know, I'm not a rich man, so I've put a lot into the business and
Try to better yourself at every show.
So y'all are riding this ride with us.
And this is also an opportunity, I think, to leave comments about the show. Like,
yeah,
what do you want to see?
Let me know. Give me some info. I love feedback. What can I do better to get better?
So, but also your schooling. Like, if you are interested in like maybe getting into dabbing your foot in wrestling.
Yeah, if you wanna, if you're interested in joining, I've got a class that we're starting up. I've got a few people involved in that. We're gonna kick it off real hard, probably middle part of August. So I'm taking new students up till then, and then I'll shut it down until that class is finished. So we just message me if you're interested, and we'll go from there.
And if you haven't heard this far, follow HCW on all the social medias. That's HCW Live 23 on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and pretty much any social besides MySpace, because it's not there no more. I mean, that's all I can think of. Like, there's so many out there.
I wish I could pull my MySpace back up.
I think I've done it once, but like, I don't think like
I wouldn't remember the passwords and all
right.
that
But
crap.
you could always hit forgot password. But do you remember the email that you used for MySpace? Like, I remember MySpace being the place where I got music too, so it was pretty cool.
Who knows?
But no, I appreciate that. That was episode 2. This has been fun, and I think that.
Listen, guys, we're still looking for a closing.
Yeah.
So you still got a little bit of time. I think we're gonna
August 24th is the next show.
August 24th is the next show. So we'll do
the Thursday before.
Yeah, the Thursday before. We'll pick one of those. So
and if we choose yours, you'll win 2 tickets to
share it. I made it 2 VIP tickets. So. Share away. Those are expensive tickets, $35 a piece.
Leave your question.
So leave your answer about what you think our outro should be, and then of course like, share, subscribe, and send us as many questions as you can get, because Bobby over here only is gonna have too many questions. He don't know shit about wrestling.
No, but I do. I think I know what to ask, because like now I've kind of got the little. I think you've warmed me up to like what I can feel comfortable to ask without feeling like a dummy.
Cool.
So, but also maybe leave a comment.
When you
also,
feel like a dummy,
and I'm okay with that.
Oh.
If I say something dumb, I'm okay with that.
I got you.
I'm now on 3 podcasts, so like I can't feel any dumber now. So, but also maybe leave a name that maybe we need to check out, like a wrestler, maybe like a YouTube channel. Like, hey, check out this guy. I'll go check him out. Maybe watch him.
There you go. Send it away. Bobby's willing to watch some videos
through a comment, or you can shoot the Chubby Buddy Studio a message.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all.
If I think it's worthwhile, then I'll pass it on to Billy.
There you go.
And then maybe we'll highlight that and react to it on here.
Well, that might be
so good. That would be fun.
Okay, I like that.
But I appreciate you, bud.
Appreciate you too, Bobby.
Later, man.
Later, brother.
We bring the heart to